To win the war, the nation needs to mobilize people's minds as well as their bodies. The Wilson administration sets up the CPI, the Committee on Public Information, to rally American support of the Allied cause. The CPI passes out 75 million pieces of patriotic literature and trains hundreds of volunteers called 4-Minute Men to give speeches at public events and in movie theaters. The CPI's mind mobilization campaigns help to whip the public into a frenzy of patriotism and contribute to a climate of suspicion and anti-German hysteria.
Suddenly, when the war broke out and the United States found itself fighting Germany, the Germans were turned from being representatives of culture and civilization to being barbaric Huns. So an anti-German feeling took over the country to the point where people started changing street names from Kaiser Avenue to Wilson Street. German measles was outlawed and became Liberty measles. Sauerkraut was outlawed and became Liberty cabbage. German music was banned from symphony halls. The German language was forbidden to be taught in American high schools. Some Germans were even lynched.
Vigilante groups like the American Protective League mobilized close to 250,000 self-appointed agents to spy on their neighbors and fellow workers.
A pioneer of modern propaganda was this man, Edward Bernays. Bernays invented the term public relations. He wrote, "The intelligent manipulation of the masses is an invisible government which is the true ruling power in our country." He was part of a secretive group called the U.S. Committee on Public Information, set up in 1917 to persuade reluctant Americans to join the war in Europe.
Edward Bernays and Walter Lippmann go to Woodrow Wilson and say, look, man, if you're going to enter into this war, we are going to need to sell this war to the American people. And so Wilson institutes and creates the first modern propaganda machinery. It was actually quite brilliant in its conceptualization, so that the best way to persuade people is to grab them by their emotions, by their unconscious and instinctual urges. Let's not bother with pumping out facts. Let's scare the hell out of people. A picture of the Statue of Liberty in tatters, crumbled into the New York harbor with German planes flying around it. A picture of the world being gobbled up by the bloody hands of a gorilla wearing a German helmet. So, you know, it's not about facts anymore. The facts don't matter.
For Edward Bernays, public relations was like a war on people, on bending their will. He persuaded women to smoke at a time when smoking in public was not considered ladylike. He convinced a group of debutantes to parade along Fifth Avenue, holding up Lucky Strike cigarettes as symbols of women's liberation. To his delight, the press called these torches of freedom.
What he was interested in doing was creating an association between a product, in this case cigarettes, and the desire for women's liberation. It worked in the sense that it got lots of news coverage. It worked in the sense that women started smoking publicly, and in fact, smoking became a symbol of the new woman, of the emancipated woman.